It was supposed to be a simple mission. Captain Elias Hayes stood on the edge of a smoking battlefield on the planet Kylara. His boots crunched over shattered stones and burnt metal. The sky above him was red with dust and fire. His team had scattered when the alien machines attacked. Oh, Elias was alone, or so he thought. A soft sound caught his attention like a whisper carried by the wind. He turned there. Lying in the rubble was a girl. She wasn't human. Her skin was smooth and silver blue. Her long dark hair was spread across the broken ground. Her body armor was torn. Her breathing was shallow. Elias stepped closer. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open. They glowed with soft blue light. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Then Elias saw them, two mechanical beasts crawling over the hill. Behind her, scanning for heat, he grabbed his blaster, but it was low on power. He had fired too much already. His eyes searched around for something, anything. That's when he saw the sword. It was stuck in the ground beside her. It didn't look like any weapon he had seen before. It was long and curved, with a handle wrapped in glowing threads. The blade gave off a low humming sound, like it was alive. Without thinking, Elias pulled it out. The moment his hand touched the sword, a wave of heat rushed through his arm. The blade glowed brighter, pulsing with light. The machines turned their heads toward him. He stepped in front of the girl, raised the sword. The beasts lunged. Elias moved faster than he ever had before. The sword felt light in his hand. It cut through the machines like paper. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. In seconds, both beasts lay broken on the ground. The girl stared at him in shock. You picked up the sword," she whispered. Elias looked down at it. "Yeah, I used it to save you." She tried to sit up. "No, you don't understand. That sword, it's sacred. It belongs only to my clan. No outsider may touch it." He frowned. I didn't exactly have time to ask for permission. She closed her eyes and sighed. "This is bad." Elias offered his hand. "Let me help you. You're hurt." She looked at him again. This time, her expression had changed. There was fear, something else. "My name is Lorena," she said. "I'm Elias," he replied. She hesitated, then took his hand. He lifted her up. Gently. She leaned against him, weak but still proud. "You don't know what you've done, Elias Hayes." "I saved you," he said simply. She nodded slowly. "Yes, but you also bound yourself to me." He blinked. "What?" She pointed at the sword in his hand. "Only a mate may touch that blade. It is the weapon of my bloodline. When you lifted it to protect me, it chose you." Elias laughed nervously. "Wait, are you saying I married you by accident?" Lorena's face turned serious. "According to our law, yes." For a long second, neither of them said anything. The wind blew dust around their feet. Then Elias looked at the glowing sword in his hand and muttered, "Well, crap." The two moved across the broken ground. Lorena guided Elias toward a hidden entrance in the rocks. Behind the mountain was a ship buried under vines and stona, secret base belonging to her clan. As they entered, alien warriors raised their weapons. But the moment they saw the sword in Elias's hand, they froze. One of the elders dropped to his knees. "He holds the blade," the elder whispered. "The bond is sealed." More warriors bowed. Elias felt awkward. "Can someone explain what's going on?" he asked. Lorena looked at him with mixed feelings. "You are now my protector and my husband." "I didn't sign up for this," Elias said. "But the sword did," she replied softly. "And our people obeyed the sword." Deep inside ship, the clan began to prepare. There would be a council meeting. Elders would speak. Trials would be offered. The humans might not believe in fate, but Lorena's people did, and the sword had chosen. Asterisk, Elias. Hayes sat alone in the glowing hall of the alien ship. The walls shimmered with light. Strange symbols floated in the air like smoke. Lorena's people were silent, standing in a wide circle around him. All eyes were on the human, the outsider who had touched the sacred sword. He looked at his hands. They were still shaking. Not from fear, but from the weight of what just happened. A young warrior stepped forward and placed a small metal bowl in front of Elias. "What's this?" Elias asked. Lorena answered from across the circle. "It is the first sign. You must offer your blood. It shows respect to our law." Elias narrowed his eyes. "I already saved your life. Isn't that enough?" Lorena walked forward, her voice calm but firm. "You did more than save me, Elias. You touched the blade of binding. You crossed a line no outsider has ever crossed." He looked at the sword resting beside him. It no longer glowed, but it still pulsed with a strange warmth as if it was watching him. The elder, a tall figure with silver lines on his face, stepped into the circle. "The law of the sword is older than our sky. When a male lifts the blade in defense of a daughter, he becomes her bonded protector. It is not just a rule, it is sacred." Elias stood slowly. "So what, you expect me to marry a girl I just met?" The crowd gasped. Some looked insulted. A few reached for their weapons, but Lorena raised her hand. "No," she said, her voice strong. "He doesn't understand. Give him a chance to see." The elder nodded. "Then let the human face the trials." Elias frowned. "Trials?" Lorena turned to him. "You have two choices. Prove yourself, or walk away forever. And if I walk away," he asked, "then the sword will be taken from you. You will be cast out. And she paused. "I will bear the shame." Elias looked around. Everyone was watching, judging, waiting. He sighed. "All right, what's the first trial? Do I fight a beast or something?" The elder shook his head. "You will walk the path of memories." Elias raised an eyebrow. "That doesn't sound so bad." Lorena looked at him with pity. "It is not your body that will be tested, Elias. It is your past." They led him into a chamber deep inside the ship. The room was silent, filled with mist. At the center stood a tall, black mirror. It didn't reflect the room, only darkness. "Step in," the elder said, "and face your truth." Elias took a deep breath and walked forward. The mirror swallowed him, inside. The world twisted. Elias was no longer in the ship. He stood in a broken house. Smoke filled the air. Flames burned outside the windows. A small girl cried from under a table. His heart raced. He knew this place. He remembered this night. The night his home was bombed. He had been just a boy. He had tried to help. He had failed. His sister had. "No," he whispered, but the mirror showed everything. The fire, the fear. His sister's scream, his own helplessness. He dropped to his knees. "It wasn't your fault," a soft voice said. He looked up. It was Lee Renino. Not her, just a vision shaped like her. A voice of the sword. "You carry guilt," she said. "You protect others because you could not protect her." Elias clenched his fists. "I fight because I must." He said, "I save because no one saved us." The mirror pulsed. The vision nodded. Double quotes, then rise. Elias Hayes. "You are not weak. You are human." He stepped out of the mirror chamber, sweat on his face. The crowd waited in silence. The elder looked at him with wide eyes. "You passed." Lorena stepped forward. She placed her hand on the sword beside him. "It accepts you." Elias looked at her. "And you?" Lorena didn't answer, but her eyes were softer now. "You still have 2 trials left," she said quietly. "Don't die before I decide." The sun never rose on the trial moon. Dark clouds circled the sky. Cold winds howled across black rocks. The air was sharp and thin. Nothing here was friendly, not the land, not the sounds, and definitely not the creatures hiding in the shadows, Captain. Elias Hayes stood alone on a wide frozen cliff, looking down at a twisted forest of black trees below. "They left me with no food, no weapon, just this," he muttered. He held the sword. It didn't glow anymore. It felt heavier here, like even it was unsure of what was coming. From above, a small drone floated, recording his every move. Lorena watched the live footage from her clan's ship, arms crossed, trying not to show worry. "He's not ready," one of the warriors said. "He's human, But Lorena didn't answer. Her eyes stayed fixed on the screen. The second trial had only one rule: survive the night. The trial moon was not just a place of beasts. It was alive. The ground breathed. The sky whispered. And, worst of all, the Vunas came out at night. Creatures with 4 legs, 1 red eye, and teeth sharp enough to bite through steel. Elias walked through the twisted forest. The trees whispered strange words. He tried not to listen, but one voice stopped him. "Why do you keep fighting, human?" He turned, but no one was there. "You don't belong here." He gritted his teeth and kept moving. Suddenly he heard a small whimper. It was soft and close. He crouched low. Behind a broken log, a tiny creature was shaking. It looked like a baby animal, thin and weak. Its fur was white and wet from the cold. Elias stepped forward. "Hey, you okay?" The creature tried to crawl away but fell. One of its legs was broken. Then he heard it. A Vuna growl echoed from deep inside the trees. Elias looked around. He could run. He could climb, but the baby creature wouldn't survive. He picked it up slowly, wrapping it in his coat. "You picked the wrong night to get lost," he whispered. The growl came closer. Through the trees, a red eye glowed in the dark. Lorena's hand tightened on the screen. She could see the Vuna creeping toward him. Elias stood still, protecting the baby creature in his arms. He didn't lift the sword, didn't run. "He's not fighting," someone whispered. Elias dropped to his knees and gently placed the baby on the ground. Then he stood up and spread his arms. "I'm not here to harm you," he said. The Vuna stopped. It sniffed the air, and then it turned away. Slowly, it walked back into the shadows. The forest went silent. Lorena's heart pounded in her chest. "He passed the second trial," the elder said, voice full of wonder. "No," Lorena whispered. "He changed it." The drone followed Elias to a cave where he made fire with rocks and dried leaves. He shared the warmth with the baby creature, feeding it pieces of dried plant. He spoke softly. "I didn't expect this. Thought I'd be fighting monsters. Instead, I'm babysitting a snow rabbit." He smiled, but deep inside he thought of Lorena. Why did he care what she thought? Why did he feel like this whole thing meant more than just some alien rules? He looked at the sword again. "What are you doing to me?" he asked. It didn't answer. But for a moment, it glowed again just a little. Morning came with pale light and strange silence. Elias walked back to the pickup zone. He had survived. More than that, he had shown mercy, heart, and courage. When the clan saw the drone footage, even the most stubborn elders nodded in respect. But Lorena stayed quiet that night. She stood outside his room. She didn't knock. She just whispered to the door, "Don't let the third trial break you. I haven't made my choice yet." Inside, Elias sat by the window, holding the sword. He had heard every word, and now, he wasn't just surviving the trials. He wanted to win her choice too. Asterisk night on the clan ship was quiet. Too quiet. Elias couldn't sleep. The soft hum of the lights above him felt louder than ever. He sat on the floor, the sword resting beside him, its dull glow flickering like a heartbeat. He touched the blade gently. "You saved me," he whispered, "but you've also changed my life." He looked at his hand, remembering the warmth he felt the first time he held the sword. It wasn't just power, it felt like a call, a connection, but to what? There was a knock at the door. He opened it slowly. It wasn't Lorena. It was the oldest elder, the one with lines on his face that looked like roots of an ancient tree. The elder's eyes were calm but serious. "Come with me," he said. They walked through hidden hallways deep below the clan ship. The walls changed. No more smooth light, just stone. Old and rough. "Where are we going?" Elias asked. The elder didn't stop walking to the first room. "Few were allowed inside but you. The sword has touched you." Finally, they reached a large metal door. The elder placed his hand on a round symbol. The door hissed and opened. Inside, the air felt heavy. At the center of the room stood a giant statue. A woman, tall, proud, holding the same sword Elias had used. Her eyes were made of glowing crystals. Elias stepped closer. She looks human, the elder nodded. Because she was. Elias froze. What? The elder walked beside him. Came here long ago, before your world had ships. She arrived through a rift in the stars. She was strong, kind, and full of fire. She saved our people from a great enemy. Elias stared at the statue. Why haven't I heard of this? Because her name was erased from history, the elder said. But we remember her. We kept her sword. No one has ever lifted it since she died. Not until you. Elias felt his knees weaken. Are you saying? I'm connected to her. The elder looked at him with deep eyes. You carry her blood, Elias Hayes. The sword remembers. Back in her quarters, Lorena watched the old video again. The drone had captured Elias kneeling to protect a tiny beast, choosing mercy over violence. She didn't want to admit it, but she was impressed. No, more than that. She was starting to trust him. Her hand hovered over the door. She wanted to go to him, speak to him, but she turned away instead. This can't be real, she told herself. He's human. She stopped. Her heart was beating too fast. In the first room, Elias stood alone now. The elder had left, but the weight of the truth stayed. He looked up at the statue again. Did you know I'd come back one day? He asked quietly. Is that why the sword called to me? Touched the blade once more. This time the glow didn't fade. It stayed warm. Alive. I'm not just here for Lorena, he said softly. I'm here for something more. I just don't know what it is yet. The next morning, Elias walked through the main hall. Warriors stepped aside. Elders nodded in silence. Lorena stood waiting, dressed in armor light as feathers. Her hair was braided with silver bands. She saw him, her breath caught. He walked up to her and said, I know the truth now, about the sword, about the woman who once held it. She looked into his eyes. And what will you do with that truth? Elias smiled, not with pride, but with calm. I'll finish what she started, he said, protecting your people, and maybe healing the past. Lorena didn't smile back. But she didn't look away either. She just said, then get ready. Final trial won't be easy. The clan's great arena was quiet, not because no one was there, but because everyone was. Thousands of Lorena's people had come to watch. They stood shoulder to shoulder, silent, waiting. The sky above was dark, as if even the stars were. Holding their breath, Elias walked into the middle of the stone floor. The sword was strapped to his back, though it hadn't glowed since last night. He looked up at the towering seats, where elders and warriors stood in circles. Then his eyes found Lorena. She stood at the far end, dressed not in armor, but in ceremonial robes, white with silver threads. She looked like a queen. And a stranger, the elder stepped forward. Human, you have passed 2 trials. You have shown courage and heart. But now comes the hardest test, not of strength or survival, but of choice. Elias nodded. I'm ready. The elder raised his staff. Then face your final trial, the trial of the bond. A second gate opened. Elias turned toward it. Ow. And froze. Lorena was walking toward him. His eyes widened. Wait. What? The elder spoke again. The sword was drawn to protect her. The bond was formed with her. Now you must fight her not with hate, but with understanding. Elias looked confused. Fight her? I'm not doing that. Lorena stopped a few feet away. Her face was calm, but her eyes were clouded. You have to, she said. This is our way. I didn't come here to hurt you. She looked down. It's not about hurting. It's about letting go. Elias didn't understand. Letting go of what? She raised her hands. 2 glowing blades appeared lightweight and beautiful, but deadly. Letting go of fear, she whispered, of control, of the past. The crowd stayed silent. Lorena lunged forward. Fast. Elias dodged. He didn't draw his sword. Stop, he said. What are you doing? She kept coming, testing him. Her strikes were clean but not cruel. He was forcing him to react. You want me to fight you? He shouted. Why? 'Cause only when we clash will the truth come out. she said. He finally pulled the sword, but he didn't swing. He dropped it. Gasps echoed through the arena. I won't fight you, Elias said. You're not my enemy. Lorena's hands shook. You have to. No, he said. I have to make a choice, and I choose you. It's not as a test. Not because of your people's law. Because I want to. Lorena stood still, her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't blink. This trial was meant to break you, she whispered. He stepped closer. Then let's break the trial instead. The sword on the ground began to glow. Not softly, but brightly. Brighter than ever before. The elders stood. The crowd gasped. The arena was filled with golden light. The elder stepped forward in disbelief. It has accepted him completely. Lorena looked at Elias, her voice trembling. No one has ever refused the final clash, he smiled. Maybe your people never had anyone worth fighting for. She took a step forward, then another, until they stood just inches apart. She whispered, You passed, and now it's my choice. She took his hand, and the sword behind them rose into the air. Hovering, shining, spinning slowly as if it were alive. The elder bowed his head. The bond is true. Later that night, the arena was quiet again, but this time, not with silence. With joy, celebrations began. Lights danced. Music echoed in alien tones. Elias stood with Lorena beside the statue of the first protector. He looked at her. So, are we married now? Lorena smirked. Technically, yes, he laughed. Do I get a say in the honeymoon? She laughed. Two, but deep down both of them knew this wasn't the end. Something darker was coming, and the sword had chosen them. For more than just love. 3 days after the bond was sealed, a dark shape appeared in the sky. At first no one noticed it. The clan ship floated above the blue clouds of Kylara, calm and safe. But the sensors began to flash red. A sound hummed through the walls, low, deep. Like the voice of a storm, Elias stood with Lorena in the training hall, showing her how to throw a human-style punch. She laughed as her fist hit a soft target with surprising power. You're getting better, he said. I like breaking things, she teased suddenly. The lights flickered, an alarm rang out. Lorena's smile vanished. They both turned toward the hallway. Elias grabbed his sword without thinking. In the command center. The clan elders stared at the screen. A ship, huge, black and silent, was drifting toward them. No message, no flag. Its shape was like a spear aimed at their hearts. The elder touched a crystal on the table. Prepare the shields, another warrior shouted. It's not responding to hails. No language, no signal, nothing. Lorena entered the room with Elias close behind. She froze when she saw the screen. I know that ship, she said quietly. Elias looked at her. What is it? She swallowed hard. The House of Shun. They were the old enemy. The ones my ancestor defeated long ago. The elder's voice lowered. The same war that brought the human woman to our world. Elias took a step forward. You mean the one the statue honors? The first sword bearer? The elder nodded. She fought the Shun alone and vanished after the war. Elias stared at the dark ship on the screen. Then maybe they've come back to finish what they started. The warship stopped just outside the clan's defense range. Then a message came through. It wasn't words. It was a picture of Elias holding the sword, wearing a strange mark glowing on his hand. What is that? He asked, pointing at the symbol. Lorena stepped closer and whispered, It's the mark of the return. The prophecy. What prophecy? She looked into his eyes. That the one who holds the blade and bears the mark will bring the clans together or destroy them all. Elias stepped back. You're saying I'm the prophecy? Before she could answer, the ship fired a warning shot. A beam of red light blasted past the clan ship, missing on purpose. But close enough to shake the sky. Panic filled the clan. Some warriors shouted for war. Others begged to flee. The elders turned to Elias. He raised the sword. No one runs, he said. You are not our leader. One warrior spat. Lorena stepped forward. But he is bonded to me and the sword has accepted him. It makes him more than a leader. That makes him chosen. The elder nodded. Let the old ways guide us. Later that night, Elias sat alone in the star chamber. He looked out the window at the black ship, still waiting like a shadow on the edge of space. Lorena entered quietly. Can't sleep? She asked. Hard to sleep when you might start a war tomorrow, he said with a weak smile. She sat beside him. You're not alone in this. He looked down. But I wasn't born for this. I'm just a soldier. I don't know about prophecies and ancient clans. She touched his hand. The first bearer. She came from your world too. Maybe it wasn't by chance. Maybe this sword has been waiting for you all along. He looked at her. You believe in destiny? She didn't answer. Right away, I believe in you. Suddenly, the ship shook. The warship had powered its main weapons. Time had run out. Elias stood, his sword glowing again bright and alive. Lorena looked up at him. What are you going to do? He tightened his grip. I'm going to talk to them. You mean fight them? He shook his head. No, not first. I'm going to give them a chance, just like I was given one. Elias stood at the edge of the landing bay. Behind him, the doors of the clan ship were open. Ahead of him, silence stretched across space, leading straight to the shadow warship. No escort. No weapons, just him and the sword glowing at his side. Clan begged him not to go, but Elias knew if he didn't face the enemy, war would come to everyone. He turned to Lorena one last time. You still think I'm meant for this? He asked softly. She stepped forward and pressed her forehead against his. I don't believe in fate, she whispered. I believe in you. Elias walked onto the dark warship alone. It was cold inside. Lifeless. The lights were blue and flickering. The air was thin, filled with whispers that had no voice. Then they came. The Shuantal wrapped in black armor that looked like smoke. Their eyes were rings of red fire. They circled him slowly, curious. One of them stepped forward. You carry her blade, the creature hissed. The human from the old war. Elias held the sword. I don't know who she was to you. Want. I'm here now. The Shun narrowed its eyes. Give it to us. The blade belongs to the dark. Elias stepped forward. No, it belongs to those who protect the weak. I won't hand it over. Another hiss. Then you will die. Elias raised the sword. I've died once already, he said. When I lost my sister, when I gave up hope. But this blade gave me purpose. And you're kind? You're afraid of that? Suddenly, the Shun moved fast, but Elias was faster. The sword lit up the ship like a sun. On the clan ship, Lorena watched from the bridge. The warship's hull began to glow, pulsing with white cracks. Then, silence, no blasts, no destruction, just a long, still moment. Then a signal came in. It was Elias's voice. It's over, said. The bridge doors opened and Elias walked. Covered in dust, his armor cut, his eyes tired, the sword was still in his hand. Lorena ran to him. What happened? She asked. I spoke to them, he said. With my words, with the sword. They weren't after war, or lost. Waiting, trapped in the past. Did you kill them? Elias shook his head. No, I reminded them who first held. This blade, she spared them. So did I. Lorena touched his arm. You ended a war before it even began. He looked at her. No, we did. Later that night, under the stars of Kylara, the clan lit the ancient lights. It was a celebration of Pisa. Ritual not seen for 1,000 years. Elias and Lorena stood together before the elders. The sword rested between them, floating in. The air, pulsing slowly like a heart. The elder spoke. Today a human did not conquer. He did not destroy. He stood between worlds and united them. The people cheered, but Elias was quiet. He turned to Lorena. Do you regret it? He asked. All of this, because I touched your sword? She smiled softly. No, because you touched my heart. They walked away from the crowd, hand in hand. Above them, stars shimmered. The future was unknown, but one thing was clear. The sword had chosen not just a warrior, it had chosen a legend.